What's up, guys, and welcome back to my reading journey. Hope you're all doing absolutely fine. And today, as usual, I'm going to continue with reading to you the Discourses by Epictetus. And I'll read to you the chapter 16 of the second book. And this chapter is about that we do not practice applying our judgments about things good and evil. So let's get started. Where lies the good? In a man's will. Where lies evil? In the will. Where is the natural sphere? In a region outside the will's control. Well, now, does any one of us remember these principles outside the lecture room? Does any man practice by himself to answer facts as he would answer questions? For instance, is it day? Yes. Again. Is it night? No. Again. Are the stars even a number? I cannot say. When money is shown, you have your practice given the proper answer that it is not a good thing? Have you trained yourself in answers like this, or only to meet fallacious arguments? I am surprised then that you surpass yourself in the sphere where you have practice and make no progress where you are unpracticed. Why is it that the orator, though he knows that he has written a good speech and has got by heart what he has written and brings a pleasant voice to his task, still feels anxiety in spite of all? The reason is that merely to declaim his speech does not content him. What does he want then? To be praised by his audience. Now he has been trained to be able to declaim, but he has not been trained in regard to praise and blame. When did he hear from anyone what praise is and what blame is? What is the nature of which? What manner of praise must be pursued and what manner of blame must be avoided? When did he go through his training in accordance with these principles? Why then are you still surprised that he is superior to others in the things he has been taught and on a level with the mass of men in the things he has not studied? He is like the sinner accompanying the lure who knows how to play, sings well, and wears a fine tunic, and yet trembles when he comes on. For though he has all his knowledge, he does not know what the people is, or the clamor or mocker of the people. Nay, he does not even know what this anxiety is that he is feeling, whether it depends on himself or on another, whether it can be suppressed or not. Therefore, if men praise him, he leaves the stage puffed up. If they mock him, his poor bubble of conceit is pricked and subsides. Very much the same is our position. What do we admire? External things. What are we anxious about? External things. And yet we are at a loss to know how fears or anxiety assail us. What else can possibly happen when we count impending events as evil? We cannot be free from fear. We cannot be free from anxiety. Yet we say, O Lord God, how am I to be rid of anxiety? Fool, have you no hands? Did not God make them for you? Sit still and pray forsooth, that your rheum may not flow. Nay, wipe your nose rather and do not accuse God. What moral do I draw? Has not God given you anything in the sphere of conduct? Has he not given you endurance? Has he not given you greatness of mind? Has he not given you manliness? When you have these strong hands to help you, do you still seek for one to wipe your rheum away? But we do not practice such conduct nor pay attention to it. Find me one man who cares how he is going to do a thing, who is interested not in getting something but in realizing his true nature, who is there that when walking is interested in his own activity, or when deliberating is interested in the act of deliberation, and not in getting that for which he is planning. And then, if he succeeds, he is elated and says, "What a fine plan what a fine plan that was of ours! Did not I tell you, my brother, that if we have thought a thing out, it is bound to happen so? But if he fails, he is humbled and miserable, and cannot find anything to say about what has happened. Which of us ever called in a prophet in order to realize his true nature? Which of us ever slept in a temple of dreams for this? Name the man, give me but one, that I may set eyes on him I have long been seeking for, the man who is truly noble and has fine feeling. He be young or old, give me one. Why then do we wonder any more that, whereas we are quiet at home in dealing with material things, when we come to express ourselves in action, we behave basely and unseemly, are worthless, cowardly, unenduring, failures altogether? But if we kept our fear not for death or exile, but for fear itself, then we should practice to avoid what we think evil. As it is, we are glib and fluent in the lecture room, and if any paltry question arises about a point of conduct, we are capable of pursuing this subject logically. But put us to the practical test, and you will find us miserable shipwrecks. Let a distracting thought occur to us, and you will soon find out for what we were studying and training. The result of our want of practice is that we are always heaping up terrors and imagine things bigger than they really are. When I go a voyage, as soon as I gaze down into the deep, or look round on the sea and find no land, I am beside myself. Imagine that if I am wrecked, I must swallow all the sea, for it never occurs to me that 3 quarts are enough for me. What is it alarms me? The sea? No, but my judgment about it. Again, when an earthquake happens, I imagine that the city is going to fall on me. What? Is not a tiny stone enough to knock my brains out? What then are the burdens that weigh upon us and drive us out of our minds? What else but our judgments? When a man goes away and leaves the companions and the places and the society that he is used to, what else is it that weighs upon him but judgments? Children, when they cry a little because their nurse has left them, forget her as soon as they are given a bit of cake. Do you want us to be like children too? No, not at all. It is not by cake I would have you influenced, but by true judgments. What do I mean? I mean the judgments that a man must study all day long, uninfluenced by anything that does not concern him, whether it be companion or place or gymnasia or even his own body. He must remember the law and keep these before his eyes. What is the law of God? To guard what is your own, not to claim what is another's, to use what is given you, not to long for anything if it be not given, if anything be taken away, to give it up at once and without struggle, with gratitude for the time you have enjoyed it. If you would not cry for your nurse or your mommy, what difference does it make what a man is a slave to and what he depends on? How are you better than one who weeps for mistress if you break your heart for a paltry gymnasium and pudgy colonnades and precious young man and that sort of occupation. Here comes a man complaining that he is not to drink the water of deers any more. What? Is not the merchant water as good as that of deers? Nay, but I was used to the other. Yes, and you will get used of this in turn. I say, if such things are going to influence you, go away and cry for it, and try to write a line like that of Epictetus, the baths of Nero, and the Martian spring. This line Paratus, Epictetus. See how tragedy arises when fools have to face everyday events. When shall I see Athens again, then, and the Acropolis? Unhappy man, are you not content with what you see day by day? Set your eyes on anything better or greater than the sun, the moon, the stars, the whole earth, the ocean. And if you really understand him that governs the universe, and if you carry him about within you, do you still long for polished stones and pretty rock? What will you do then when you are going to leave the very sun and moon? Shall you sit crying like little children? What were you doing then at school? What did you hear? What did you learn? Why did you write yourself down a philosopher when you might have written the truth, saying, I did a few introductions and read Chrysippus' sayings, but I never entered the door of a philosopher. What share have I in the calling of Socrates, who lived and died so nobly, or of Diogenes? Can you imagine one of them weeping or indignant because he is not going to see these men or dead or be in Athens or in Corinth, but in Susa, if it is so chance, or Ecbatana? Does he, who may leave the banquet when he will, and play no longer, wax himself when he stays on? Does he not stay at play just as long as it pleases him? Do you suppose the man I describe would endure interminable exile or condemnation to death? Will it not be weaned at last, as children are, and take more solid food, and cease to cry nurse and mommy, cries for old women's ears? But I shall distress them, you say, by departing. You will distress them? No, you will not distress them. What distresses them and you? What distresses them and you is judgment. What can you do then? Get rid of your judgment. Theirs, if they do well, they will get rid of themselves, or they will sorrow for it, and have themselves to thank. Man, be bold at last, even to despair, as the phrase is, even to despair as the phrase is, that you may have peace and freedom and a lofty mind. Lift up your neck at last, as one released from slavery. Have courage to look up to God and say, deal with me hereafter as thou wilt. I am as one with thee. I am thine. I flinch from nothing so long as thou thinkest it's good. It good. Lead me where thou wilt. Put on me what raiment thou wilt. Wouldst thou have me hold office, or eschew it? Stay or fly, be poor or rich. For all this I will defend thee before men. I will show each thing in its true nature, as it is. Nay, stay rather in the cow's belly and wait for your mommy's milk to fill you. What would have become of Heracles if he had stayed at home? He would have been Eres, Eres, Eresus, Eres, Aristeus, 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 and no Heracles. But tell me, how many friends and companions had he as he went about the world? No nearer friend than God, and that is why he was believed to be son of Zeus, and was so. Obedient to him, he went about the world, cleansing it of wrong and lawlessness. Do you say you're no Heracles, nor able to get rid of other men's evils, not even a Azizius to cleanse Attica of ills? Cleanse your own heart, cast out from your mind, not Procrustes and Siron, but pain, fear, desire, envy, ill will, avarice, cowardice, passion uncontrolled. These things you cannot cast out unless you look at God alone, on Him alone, set your thoughts and concentrate yourself to His commands. If you wish for anything else, with groaning and sorrow, you will follow what is stronger than you, ever seeking peace outside you, and never able to be at peace, for you seek it where it is not, and refuse to seek it where it is. Alright guys, so thank you for joining me today on this video. We're gonna continue as usual, but tomorrow. Thank you, see you and bye.